Today on Natural Bushcraft we're going to take a look at some bushcraft basics. We're going to learn how to build and start a fire. Now the first thing to consider when you're going to light a fire is, do you have permission from the landowner to light the fire in the first place? So make sure you've got permission and make sure you're abiding by your local laws. The next thing to consider is basically find a suitable spot for your fire. So let's take a look at that now. When choosing a suitable place for your fire, there are a few things we want to consider. First of all, bear in mind, as bushcrafters, we are always looking to leave no trace afterwards. So don't choose the middle of some scenic beauty spot where there's never been a campfire before. Instead, look for somewhere quiet and secluded where you won't be disturbed. When looking for a suitable place for your fire, in terms of the ground, avoid combustible vegetation and stuff like deep pine needles or peaty soil. You also want your fire a safe distance away from trees. 2 or 3 metres is fine. Once you've found a nice level spot, the next thing we need to do is clear back the soil. We want to get rid of this leaf litter and get back to mineral soil. So you can do that with your hands or you can do that with your feet. Just clear back the leaf litter. And we're just clearing that all back so we've got nothing that's going to catch on fire that we don't mean to. At this point you will want to gather different thicknesses of kindling. Organise them into different piles, extra fine kindling being around the thickness of a match, and then slightly thicker kindling between a match and pencil thickness. Remember to make sure the wood you gather is not off the damp floor, but rather dead standing or caught up in trees so that it is air dried. We will want to gather some small fuel around thumb or finger thickness. We will use this to make the base of our fire and for fuel when our kindling is lit. Make sure you gather good sized bundles of all the different sizes of kindling. Preparation is key when it comes to fire lighting. The last thing you want to do is light your tinder bundle and then be running around like a headless chicken looking for kindling to go on top of it. So yeah, good sized bundles of each. So you can see here, we'll take a quick look at the different size kindling, and providing you've got thin enough kindling to light from your tinder, we should be on to a flying start. Now we have cleared our area, the next thing we need to do is lay the base to our fire. This is important because not only does it keep your dry tinder bundle off the damp floor, but it also aids oxygen getting into the fire at that crucial starting time. So to lay the base to your fire, just simply take some small fuel and lay them across like that, with small gaps in between. So that basically acts as a platform to keep that tinder bundle dry, and the air will come in from the sides just because it's elevated a little. So once we've got our platform built, it's ready for our tinder bundle. Now you don't have to use dry grass like I'm using here. You can use whatever's in your area, a bit of birch bark or mayor stick or cotton wool if you're carrying that with you. So basically we put the tinder bundle on the platform and then we take our extra fine kindling and that we gathered earlier and we split that into 2 bundles, and basically we overlap this on top of the tinder bundle. So we sort of crisscross them there, and the idea is that we ignite our tinder bundle from the side and the flames rise up through the fine kindling and ignite those. Now when the fine kindling has ignited, it's definitely burning itself, we put on the slightly thicker kindling, which is sort of pencil thickness, and likewise we wait for that to to ignite first before we put on small fuel after. So I'm going to use a lighter here, and it depends how dry this tinder bundle is. I suspect it might be slightly damp, but it's important to know at the right time, if a fire is sort of dying down, to feed it oxygen by blowing into the glowing embers, which can basically make the embers glow more intense and can ignite the wood. So we'll give this a go here now. So you see, as the flames start to die down a little, you can blow on it gently to increase the heat. You can adjust the fire slightly as it is igniting. It's good to just sort of move it about and change it as you see fit. So the fine kindling is lit there. So I'm just going to add half of this smaller kindling. And then, now that's lit, I will add the rest of the kindling. So now we've got a good blaze on, there's a good amount of flame. Because this fire is burning perfectly now, there's no smoke. It's got the right amount of heat there, the wood's dry enough, and it's getting all the oxygen it needs. So I'm just going to add a few bits of small fuel. You can see the fire naturally spreading on the side there, so it's a good job. We cleared back all the leaf litter and the vegetation, so it's good to keep an eye on what your fire's doing. That's burning nicely. Once you get a fire established well and it gets a good bed of embers to it, not quite there at the minute, but in a bit, once it's got a good heart to it, as we say, that gives you the time to walk about and gather larger fuel, logs and the like. Fire demands your attention. It needs to be fed fuel, and it needs to be watched over and rearranged at times. So what you can do is just keep an eye on what's burning through, and the ends of wood that are sticking out can just be pushed into the centre. So all these burnt bits on the edge. Oh, got a bit of leaf litter there. So we can rearrange this. And now the fire might look like it's died down substantially there, because there's no flames, but that would reignite itself. But what you can do to help it is give it that oxygen again. And one puff of air and we're back in action. So just make use of those little pieces of wood around the outside, and of course increase the size of the fuel that you give it. When you know you're going to be finished with your fire soon, don't put any more fuel onto it. Just let it burn down naturally, and just get the pieces from around the fire, the burnt ends, and stick them into the middle and just burn these off. And this just reduces the mess that we leave on the landscape and makes it easier to tidy away after. This is the remains of my campfire so far. Normally in this situation I would give it another 20 or 30 minutes for these hot coals to burn themselves down to ash, but unfortunately I'm limited here on time at the moment as the light is fading. So normally what I would suggest is when you're dealing with just ash, I would poke it around with a stick to see if there's any glowing embers left. Obviously we have quite a few here. So I'm just going to push those together. Like I say, if you did leave it another 30 minutes, it'd just be a bed of ash there, and you wouldn't have as many glowing embers. But once you've got your fire like that, you can kill it by just dousing it with water. And just mix the remaining ash together, looking for any glowing embers. Just a couple down here. And what you can do, again, if you're dealing with just a bed of ash, it's hard to tell if there's any glowing embers there, so you can just try with your hand, just hovering above it, feeling for heat. Now that's pretty cool. Another good thing is to just push some holes into the ground and give the ground a good dousing of water too, because obviously if you've had an intense fire, you can get roots and stuff like that smouldering away. So it just looks like we've got a little bit of steam here rising. That's not smoke, but I think we can pretty safely say we've got no glowing embers there. As always, when we're practicing bushcraft, we like to leave no trace on the land after. So we've got to clear up this scar on the landscape. Now, it's easy to do, and it's a good way to check that your fire's out. So we've doused it with water, and we've felt for heat before we touch it. There's no heat there. So what I can do is just collect up the remaining ashes and scatter them broadly about the woodland. There you go. Now that might look like a messy job, but I can assure you this ash washes off dead easy. So there's no reason why we can't clear up after ourselves and keep the countryside nice and enjoyable for everyone else. So at this stage we can start to move some of the leaf litter back over the area, just to mask our activities there and return it to how it was. And again, it doesn't take much effort to return that area with a bit of leaf litter. And walking through here now, you wouldn't even recognise that there was a fire there. So that's a job well done.